Hi, I'm Dr. Fourie. I'm going to be hosting this little course that we're doing here. You guys have got a lot of responsibility on your hands because if you do our course, we don't really market a lot, so we expect you guys to do awesomely well and then tell other people, and that's how we keep this thing going, and we've been doing it like this for nearly 6 years now. Just little groups at a time, chipping away, waiting for the big rock to break. You guys are, I'm not sure what group you are, but you're in the 30s already of the number of groups we've had coming through the program, so we kind of have an idea what we're doing. But in spite of knowing what we're doing, the good news is we're doing something different. So we're going to test something on you. But it's going to work really well. Some of you will lose so much weight in the next few weeks, you might even disappear. So take photographs. Those of you that don't want to lose weight are very welcome here too, because I don't want everybody to lose weight, because what I'm really trying to sell is a health and a lifestyle course. And you'll hear we say it all the time, and most people say, because I'm one of those, if people sell a lifestyle course, then they mean, oh, your diet. And you're just trying to find a fancy word for it, no? So it's like when you say mollig, but you mean dik of vet. But you just say mollig of bietjie, it's 'n bietjie extra aan die kante. So die lakens staan hoog. It will be in English, fortunately, but I might do some Afrikaans jokes. I'm going to stand here. So we are filming this thing. What happens here, this microphone is not for you. So if I can't hear when I talk here, then it's louder, but when I talk here, you can't hear. That's just because I'm making that up. That's not real. This does nothing. This is for the video, and that's because everything we do will be recorded, and some of it will be on YouTube, some of it will be on DVD. So if you miss something, or you think you'd like to invite something and just want to show people what we do, then you'll be able to go and find this video of this meeting on YouTube. Give me till 8 o'clock though, because I just have to get home and have something to eat first. All right, so what are we going to do? Some of you know what we're going to do, some of you don't know, some of you are coming to check, some of you know me as patients, some of you have been dragged here by friends, some of you were looking for the bathroom and walked into this room by accident. Very welcome to you as well. Your life will change in a different way than you expected, and there's no toilet paper involved here. If you are looking for the bathroom, we're going to edit this out probably. If you are looking for the bathroom, it's out the door and to your right, and then left at Sanlam Street, and right, it's quite far. So just keep walking until you forgot why you even went in that direction, then you're about there. Okay. Right, what are we going to talk about? I'm going to try and get through this in enough time to keep you interested and inspired. Keep a close watch on what we do. It's going to go faster at times than others. I'm Dr. Fourie. I practice functional medicine. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to explain it to you over the next 12 weeks. It's an integrative type of medicine where we treat a whole person. We don't look at diseases. We don't look for symptoms that we can suppress. We don't look for conditions that we can just give you tablets for and make them go away or make you feel better. We actually try to fix things. We try to restore health. We try to recover you back to an original time when you were well. We've all become very used to our very powerful conventional Western medicine that for everything there's a pill, and the pills work well, and they work quickly, and they make us think sometimes that we're better, and really all they're doing is they're confusing our brains to forget that the problem that caused us to come to the doctor in the first place is still going on. A lot of people will come to me and they'll say, I'll ask them if they have any medical conditions, and they'll say no. But when I ask them to write medications down, they'll write something down for diabetes, and they'll write something for high blood pressure, and they'll write something down for depression, and they'll write down a contraceptive, and then they'll write down a vitamin, and then they'll write down a supplement that they got from the pharmacy or by the auntie that works by the health shop. And then there's 6 or 7 things written down there, and then it's hard for me not to be sarcastic. It's very hard. You'll see that. But if you're using a medication every day of your life, then there is something wrong with you. And the fact that you don't have the symptom of that thing doesn't mean the thing is gone. It's being controlled, it's being maintained, but it's not being healed. And we're not into that kind of medicine. We're into the medicine of healing. And the truth is, 90%, I made that up, 90 Might as well go for 99 if we're making stuff up. 99% of your problems can be solved by what you eat, how you sleep, your lifestyle, the way you think, and the way you dress. No, I'm just checking if you're listening. Thank you, though, for that. So, we'll start another course. This will be a bit of a fashion thing. We're going to do it at Fourie head office. So just keep going down for a Trekker Road. So the thing is, we really do believe very strongly that lifestyle has caused most of the diseases that we have, what we call our modern day diseases, our chronic diseases. Most of the people in this room will never have TB, will never have measles. Again, will never, our children probably won't have measles, won't have chickenpox, won't have mumps, won't have tetanus, won't have all the things they get vaccinated for. You probably won't get hepatitis. If you're lucky, you won't get HIV. Even if you get it, doesn't really matter anymore because now we can fix that. So we're living in a great time. But in spite of that, we still have a problem with people being unwell. And it's this is what we want to address in this time. And we want to find out how to take all of this that we have available to us and use it to our advantage to actually be one of the generations that is disease-free and healthy, instead of so reliant on a medical system that actually keeps many of us alive. So we practice over there at our little place called Oakmead, just next to the highway. If you haven't been there before, behind the MChem pharmacy. I specialize in the treatment of patients with diabetes, obesity. We do a lot of nutrition stuff. This is part of it. The functional medicine, if you want to read up about functional medicine, I'm a member of the Institute of Functional Medicine, which is the USA university through whom we study. And that's an ongoing thing of which I'm still busy completing a further 2-year full certification of this degree, which unfortunately is not even recognized in South Africa yet. So when I'm finished, I'll move to America. Or we're hoping we'll get something right here. I'm just trying to get away from being a JGP. That's what my son calls me, just a GP. So the problem in this country is that the GP has been seen as just the little mechanic that works in the shop, and his job is to send the real problems to the real doctors who are the specialists. The problem with the specialists, I got a nice example. I had a lady the other day who went to an orthopedic surgeon because she had a pain in her shoulder. The orthopedic surgeon told her that he thinks there's a frozen shoulder and there's a problem with one of the ligaments, so he wants to take it to theater, which he did 2 days later, and she had a heart attack on the table as she was going under anesthetic. And when they looked at it afterwards, she was busy with a heart attack 2 days ago when she saw the surgeon, but it was slowly starting to shut down. So the blood vessels going to the heart muscle were blocking off slowly. She was getting chest pain, which was radiating to the shoulder, and this pain had disappeared. She thought it was heartburn. And this is the shoulder, the pain she had. And she went to the orthopedic surgeon, and orthopedic surgeons work with shoulders. So good luck if you ever find an orthopedic surgeon who says, I think your shoulder pain is coming from your heart attack. And that's the problem with specialists. The specialists think in their fields. And generalists have the other challenge of high turnover, divorce machine. No? We go to the station, we get pumped through a little system, 5-minute, 10-minute consultations. You never really get properly examined. You never really get properly questioned. And you often will leave the practice with the same medicine that you arrived with, because it's actually quite convenient for the doctor just to repeat your script. And we do like that, but it's not good medicine, because you are changing all the time, and so should your medication. At least the doses, at least the types. Questions should be asked, and this is what functional medicine does, is where is this person going if we continue on this path? So we're not into preventative medicine only, we're into predictive medicine. I want to predict the future. I want to look at what I know about your health, the diseases you have, the medications you're using for that, how the medications are interacting with each other, and I want to find out where and who are you going to be in 10 years' time? Are you even going to be here? So that's us. We look a lot at the hormones, ladies' hormones, men's hormones. It's a huge, huge part of weight loss. A lot of people that get stuck trying to lose weight are actually in their 40s to 60s, where their hormones are just running crazy with their bodies, and it's a trap you fall into. And if you've been on every diet you can think of and getting hot flashes at the same time, then you probably need a different kind of a treatment. We do little fitness and lifestyle. Myself, I've done a few things. So I know a little bit about sport and extreme sport. And the natural medicine, we always try and use something natural if it's available and if it works. So functional medicine, what's nice about functional medicine is that we're still very science-based. I'm going to use drugs that make you feel better. If you tell me, Doc, I've been using this thing for 6 months, my question will be, how do you feel on it? And if your answer is, kind of the same, then we're going to stop it. Because if you're taking something to feel better, then it must actually make you feel better. So we work with that. And if people come to us and say, well, we think if you mix water with 3 drops of lemon juice and a little bit of sparrow fart, then it makes your headache go away, then we're going to say, please would you do a small little trial to show me how we can do this, and basing it on evidence, I want to see that this can work. And I also want to know that 3 doctors who treat 3 people with the same medication will get the same result. Then I'm going to start looking at it. So needless to say, we're using a lot more sparrow fart than we used to. It's been very successful. Big surprise. So this is one of the challenges of where we're at in our time. As you know, our men have got thicker and our TVs have got thinner. I don't know. Pretty soon we're going to have holographic 3D images and our men will probably take up the whole room. And this is one of the major challenges we have in our time. This is a very interesting photograph that I found. In 1903, this man was the world record holder. His name was Big Joe. He was the largest man in the world in 1903. And this guy's just the average guy that you'll see in New York on any average day, who is your policeman, praying that nothing happens in case he has to chase you. I think he's just blocking the path, actually. And he's doing a good job. So it's interesting that what was extreme 100 years ago is now very normal. I mean, I know you looked at that and you thought that was Parliament, hey? But no. It is a different time we live in. We've changed as a species, and we really, for a species that is as advanced as ours is, with the tools we have available and the minds we have, it is amazing how we are evolving past a point of return where everything is about comfort and pleasure and gratification, immediate gratification. I want to have something nice now. I want to eat something quickly. I want to just do this and sit in front of the TV and enjoy this thing. And it's fine to do that. And the good news about our lifestyle programs, we're not going to change that. A lot. We're not going to change that a lot. We're going to just perfect it. We're going to tweak it a little. Okay. This is an interesting sign that I saw that was up in the States where, you know, otherwise people just don't recognize them as children anymore because they sometimes can't tell the difference between the balls they're kicking and the balls that are chasing them. So it's probably not true. Don't worry. That, I'm sure. Don't worry. Not real. So this is an interesting photograph. As you can see, South Africa. And for those of you that think that's South Africa, you're really going to enjoy this course because you're going to believe a lot of new things going forward. So this is 1985, just showing the weight distribution of the average American population, where the colors show either there's no data or data, depending on how you want to say it. So a lot of countries didn't even bother to count because it was such a non-issue that there were no such statistics. The countries who did bother, I mean the counties that did bother to check, even your worst ones were up here where your obesity, and now when we talk about obesity, we're talking about BMI, body mass index, over 30. Which means for an 85 kilogram man, you're 10 kilograms plus overweight, more or less. So this is 1985. Have you guys seen pictures like this before? I attend a lot of conferences, so we see these pictures all the time. So I was scared to show you stuff that's boring. So this is taken off the Center for Disease Control in the States, CDC. And this is the picture from 2 years ago. Now, there's a considerable change. They've had to change the colors. They've had to change the coding. And they even had to change the way they measure it to be able to keep it on the same map. So what happened is you now have 2 counties where the average citizen is over 10 to 15 kilograms overweight. So in other words, obese. Your obesity level, that's over 30. So to be overweight, your body mass index must be between 25 and 30. To be obese, it must be from 30 to 35. From 35 up is morbidly obese. And America is losing this war in no uncertain terms. There is now no county that has less than 20% obesity. And if you think this problem is an American problem, then welcome to our fair sunny shores. These are the statistics from 2008 showing South Africa to be the third most obese nation in the world per 100,000 capita. In other words, we were just a little behind the US and Mexico. The UK coming up really fast. They never used to be. The funny thing is the stats, the Chinese, the Indians, and the Japanese doing well, Mexico, this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the top 7. The European countries don't even factor in. They're so low. So the statistics are, in France, still to this day, less than 10% obesity. And also one of the lowest cardiac or heart attack risks in the world is still in France. And we're going to come back to that later in the course. I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm going to explain to you how that's starting to influence the way that we eat and the things that we tell you to do. So that's kind of scary and kind of weird. And maybe you know that and maybe you don't. I like to think some of us don't actually have to have a heart attack to get the message that something has to change. What are the other stats? This is interesting. 9% of the world's population now lives with diabetes. This is 9% known, diagnosed, on treatment. The numbers already, though, are probably 3 times what we think of undiagnosed diabetics, or what we call pre-diabetic or insulin-resistant patients. So we believe that up to 30% of our population is insulin-resistant. In other words, will become diabetics in the next 10 years. I don't have the statistic, but at the moment in the world, we have about 335 million people living with diabetes known on treatment, and we expect that number to increase to 550 million in the next 10 years. So it will almost double. The cost of diabetes, this is an interesting one too. The cost of diabetes in the USA alone is $245 billion. Does anybody know what the South African entire budget is? I thought this was cute. I went and looked this up. Don't guess, because in case I'm wrong. But I did look this up. We have a website about this stuff. It's the most boring website you've ever been to. You can read the entire speech. I fell asleep again. So the South African national budget, our entire budget, the whole country's economy is based on $99 billion. That's all we have. That's what we spend in a year. And the Americans are spending more than double that just on diabetes. That's how much money is being wasted or spent on diabetes. I thought that was an interesting stat. So a billion is quite an impressive number. Because then I thought, yeah, a billion, you know, billion, everyone's a billionaire, millionaire, nobody cares. So if a billion seconds ago, it was 1959. A billion minutes ago, Jesus was alive. A billion hours ago, our ancestors were living in the Stone Age. A billion is a lot. If you start counting from 1, and you count a number every second, 1, 2, it'll take you 95 years to count to a billion. So it's a lot. So 245 billion on a disease that shouldn't even exist, that hardly could be found before 1950. Now it's consuming masses of amounts of money in our world. You probably find, I didn't look at what I'm sure if you went and added up the entire African treasury, the value of money we spend there, you'd probably find it was less than that. So we know this is killing us. We know we're getting diseases. We know it's scary. We know it's growing. And we also know that there's been diets forever that don't seem to be working well. And one of our big challenges as doctors moving forward, those of us that are in nutrition and health and lifestyle, is to find something that actually works. And not that works for a while, and then you lose your 10 kilograms, and then you gain your 12 kilograms back. but something that really works. And there's been some huge movement in the world and in South Africa over the last few years, unless you've lived under your pillow or with your head buried in a hole, you've heard of Tim Noakes, that Noakes guy. And he didn't invent banting. He didn't even do nothing. He just was clever enough to write it down in a book and sell half of you that book. And we're going to talk about that because I have just spent 4 days, unfortunately for you, I just spent 4 days of my last week at the conference in Cape Town with 15 of the world's most influential people in this area: nutrition, health, weight, obesity, diabetes, who are all around the world asking the real questions and actually starting to take chances with things that we've previously accepted as normal or the truth or unchangeable. Things we thought were rules that can't be broken. And we're going to challenge you with some of those things. And we're going to explain them to you. Because even I, who's been doing this for 5 years, when I looked at Noakes' stuff, thought, no, this is dangerous, this is stupid, this won't work. And I'm going to explain to you what our current opinion on that is. This is just like scare stories. Do you like scare stories? These are the things you're going to get. This is what happens when you're fat. This is what happens when you're unhealthy, when you're tired. You get pain. You know, allergies increase as your health decreases. Your bowels are messed up. You're tired all the time. You're depressed. You have no energy. You can't sleep. You're tired all day, but when you get to bed at night, you can't sleep. Some of you have managed to do that right here in this meeting already, which is wonderful. I'm glad that's going well. You don't feel like sex. This is not only because of the way you eat. It might be because of how your husband looks. We'll fix that for you. Erectile dysfunction is a very, very common problem that we have at the moment. And I see men with this all the time. Well, I suppose I see men without this all the time. Hey, work it out. So some of the jokes you're going to have to work out yourself. Okay, I can't explain everything. So we want to find out what's going on there. So unfortunately, we don't have statistics on this kind of thing because it's not things that people come forward with and say, I have this thing. It's amazing how reluctant men are to admit that. Menopause, and not everybody wants to complain about it because they're like, thank goodness that eventually stopped. After 40 years of looking, I found the off switch. Okay, no more on that. So, you know, what I see, it's amazing how many marriages I see that are in trouble because of lifestyle things. So this ill health, this poor energy, this imbalance of hormones, this not feeling well, how it affects your moods, how it affects your energy, how it affects your sex drive, really starts to affect your relationship. And sometimes I think what I'm doing here is not a health and lifestyle course, but a marriage course. So why don't we all just eat less, exercise more, and lose weight? Because we've been told so many years that the problem is this. We all secretly believe that the reason you get fat is because you eat more than you burn. Nah? We all secretly believe, you don't even secretly believe it, we say it out aloud. We all believe that we're fat because we don't exercise enough. We're fat because we're lazy. We're unhealthy because we watch too much TV. We're unhealthy because we eat too much junk food. So over the next 12 weeks, I'm going to explain to you that none of that is true. This is good news for those of you who did not feel like an exercise session after each class on Tuesday night, which we would never do, ever, not every week. So here's the problems, you know, with weight and weight loss and food and nutrition and programs and supplements. The rules keep changing. Nobody knows who to trust anymore. Aren't you confused? You think you're confused. I'm in this industry. I read scientific papers, books, articles, speak to specialists. Nobody knows what's going on. So there's no wonder the man in the street, it always depends who's talking to you. Hey? We've all been the man in the street. Sometimes you're the guy that can say that. It's cool. Does anybody else want a chance to say to them, the man in the street? Everything seems to work only for a while. How many people have just tried so many things you've actually just given up So this is very common. They are difficult. You're not motivated to do it, or you lose your motivation during it, or you hit a plateau every time. You lose so much weight, then you don't lose any weight for 10 weeks, and then you just go back to the way you were slowly but surely. The diets work slowly, they're boring, they're imbalanced, they're not sustainable. You know they're there just to make money, and all the other reasons you can think of. So these are the things we think, but there's lots of things that play a role in weight loss. Not moving plays a role, but it doesn't play a role in weight loss or in health. Does stress play a role in weight loss or in health? Not sleeping, as in I don't want to sleep, I don't like to sleep, I watch TV till late, I play on computers, on phones, I Facebook, I do. Our children that don't play outside anymore, I hope none of you play outside anymore, unless it's with children. It's weird when adults play outside and outside. Yeah, you know, we don't even have to dial numbers anymore on our phones. If you really want to freak your kids out, then tell them, call me. Call me. Because you see, even half the people in this room didn't get that. Like, why? Because at least you might be the generation of tick, 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 tick. Yeah, you got that one? But now, no, children have no idea about that. You just tell your phone who to call, and then it calls the United States government, because it sounds a lot like Frank Potgieter. Does your phone do that too? Okay, so we live in a very toxic age where we're surrounded by potent chemicals. We have no idea what's in our food. We have no idea what's in our air. We have no idea what's in our water. We drink instant things, quick things, convenient things, and we base everything on one simple decision: how does this taste? If it tastes good, then it's good. And they know we base our decisions on that, so they make up flavors that they put into our food to make them taste the way they think we want them to taste, even though those things aren't in the food, which we will talk about. We don't plan meals. Meals are a problem. We don't cook. We like to watch people cook. Isn't it weird how master chefs like this runaway success? Well, we like Kentucky. Yeah, but you might put a nice sauce on it, at least, on the sides. Just drip it around a little bit with some pear. We don't eat real food. We skip meals because we're busy, it's inconvenient. We don't want to do junk food sometimes, I hope, and so we just don't have food. We drink and eat lots of sugar. We'll talk about that. We have remote controls. We have remote controls that control remote controls. And that's all because our children are too lazy to get up to change the channels like it used to be when I was young. So my dad did have a remote control. He called it Grant. All our food is processed, and many other reasons that are unique. So what makes our program different? Well, what we've tried to look at over the years, and this is what does keep changing as we experiment with human beings. So welcome to experiment number 33. I mean, course. So we want to make a course that's sustainable. We want to make this something that you can live with going forward. Because for me, if you lose weight on my program and gain it back when you leave, then I've actually made the problem worse. Because that's really not the point. In fact, I would rather you lost no weight on my course than lose it to gain it back in 3 months' time. Let's give you 6 months, okay? Because it's not the point. We really focus on the individual. And you'll see as we go through the program, we're going to give people the opportunities to try different ways of eating. People are going to get different food lists. People are going to get told different instructions. You eat this, you eat this, you eat this. Only 3 different types, yeah, you're right. Did you pick up on that? And we're going to show you how the different diets work and how making small changes with your carbohydrates, with your proteins, with your fats, how that affects the way you act or are or feel. So everybody gets a chance to learn something about these programs. We really push the lifestyle thing. We don't weigh food. We don't count calories. I don't care. Catch this. It doesn't get said often. I don't care how much you eat. If you care how much you eat, you've missed the point. And I think that's a lot of us. A lot of us, our very first place is when we feel like we're putting on weight is, I'm going to eat less. I'm going to cut down my portions. And that's wonderful, but how long does it work? It's very hard to keep doing stuff like that. You slowly but surely find that you might eat fewer plates, but the pile's a little bit higher on the plate. You know, you can fix these problems. We're not stupid. People, you know, I have people with all sorts of plans. I only have a beer every second night. And then the nights in between. So we come up with all sorts of concoctions to try and make rules for ourselves, but we don't stick to them because we don't like them, because we actually don't get over our addictions to our foods, which we'll talk about. I'm not going to give you strange recipes of food. I don't send people to the wellness warehouse in Cape Town to buy food you've never heard of before. Or I can if you like, but you don't have to. While you're there, though, just call me, because I often need stuff from there. Hopefully, you're going to eat food that you like all of the time. Okay? So that really is an important thing that the diet programs of the past have missed. We've been mocked because of the food that gets put on the table, because it looks like rabbit food, bunny food, horrible food. We don't feed rabbits. Unless they pay to do the course. Otherwise, we don't feed rabbits. We like that the whole family must eat the same food. This is very important. If I give you a diet and say this is not for pregnant women, what am I saying, actually? If I give you a diet and say not for under 12 or not for over 70, then, you know, that doesn't make sense to me either. If you are drinking a shake and on there's a caution that says, caution not to be used by children, it's like, oh, well, that must be perfectly safe then. Because how many times have you seen an orange with that warning on? Yeah, that's right, never. So be careful of stuff. So here's our program. We call it the 4E program. And it's got these 4 sort of pillars, which are important. It's phases that we're going to show you and take you through slowly. We do an elimination phase. This is probably the only difficult phase. And that's only because you have to change habits, not so much food. And I think we're also getting better at making this easier. Those of you who've done the course before, who are very scared of this phase, it's a powerful, powerful start to the program. So it sees many people losing huge amounts of weight in a very short space of time. Our record there is one man who lost 8 kilograms in 6 days. So he brought his dog with him the first time and went out and we couldn't find it. So, but I think he probably lost some weight too. I just thought of that, really. It's so funny. This is what we're going to do. When you arrive next week, we're going to do something we call evaluate. Evaluate means what the heck is going on. All right? So I'm going to try and find a little bit about you and what worries you, because I want to make this thing work for each individual. That means I need to know what differentiates everybody in the room from everybody else, so we can adjust your food. People who are on medication, who are off medication, everybody's different. Diabetics do get treated a little bit differently until we can get them off their insulins. Did you catch that? Yeah. So we can cure these things. Then we eliminate crap. All that junk that's in your cupboards and in your pockets and in your car, and all the places you hide your food, sneak your food or steal your food from. And we get rid of a bunch of crap that's been building up in your body. So we've got to get rid of the bad stuff before we can start filling it with the good stuff. The Enlighten is an educational phase of the program. This is where I'm actually going to teach you about food and how your body works. I'm going to teach you about the different types of diets, the different styles of eating, so that you can start to see how we're going to teach you to eat. And after this phase, we're going to give you specific instructions on how you're going to eat for the next 4 weeks, which will probably swap after 4 weeks to the other. So everybody gets a chance to do everything, unless you're really doing well. You say, no, I don't want to change, because that happens. And that's fine if it's working. This one, this is an important one that we will spend a lot of time on. If you concentrate, you'll see this is Coke. And listen, sugar, just really be very afraid. It's a scary, scary thing that we don't want you to ever use again. I'm going to show you how sugar has killed everybody that you know. Some of them died of old age too, probably. But the rest of them, it was sugar. We're going to talk about foods that make you sick and foods that you shouldn't be eating. And this is where we do start to separate ourselves from just a diet. Because if it was just about food and about eating less or about eating the right thing, and then nobody really knows what the right thing is anyway, then we really all would just be able to do it and get on with it. But the body is far more complex than that. And we are, as individuals, are far more complex than that. And so we've got to pick out those of us that have certain resistances or intolerances or reactions to foods that actually often one single food or one single type of food might be causing your entire problem. Remove that and everything else just falls in line. There's an interesting diet overseas called the metabolic diet. Well, it's not overseas, it's here now because I just told you about it. And what we do is we test 220 different foods and we test how your immune system reacts to that food, which already is a weird concept, how your immune system reacts to the food. So we want to see, do you get sick from this? Does your body react? Because if your body reacts to a food, it makes it sick. Like a germ would make it sick, like a poison would make it sick. And if you're getting that food in every day, you're keeping yourself sick. Your immune system is working hard to keep you healthy. And we want to find out what that food is. So what this test does, we test 220 different foods, and we give you a list that marks them, this one, and we score it from 100 to 0. And basically, it's such an easy diet. You start from 0 and work your way up. And you just keep going, and every day you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to take on number 20 today, and then 21, and then 23, and then if you're really brave, you eat bread. So those are those rough days. We talk a lot about your gut, because if your gut's unhealthy, let me tell you about human beings. We don't even exist. There is no life on planet Earth except bacteria. And these bacteria live inside of us, trillions of them. Now remember billions. So a trillion is 1,000 billion. So there are 10 times the number of cells, living creatures, bacteria inside of us than what we even have of our own. In every single cell of your body, there's a little thing called a mitochondrion. It's like a little battery. It's an energy-producing cell. When we study a mitochondrion, it looks like a bacteria. It looks like a germ, but it's in every single living cell that you have. We have been invaded by these things. They tell us what to do. We are just robots that do things that we're told by bacteria that are controlled by people from other planets. So it gets interesting though, don't you think? Yeah, this is cool. You've never heard this anywhere else, I guarantee it. The thing is, these bacteria that live inside of us, so it's all real. So the mitochondria we have control of. But the ones in our gut, not so much. And we hurt them when we take antibiotics. We hurt them when we take cortisons. We hurt them when we don't eat properly. We hurt them when we don't eat. We hurt them when we're sick. We hurt them when we have operations. We hurt them when we don't breastfeed. We hurt them when we're born with a cesarean section rather than natural birth. Although my mom did say, no, I can't have a redo. Apparently, can't go back in and do the whole thing again. So, but these bacteria are critical to our health and the way that we digest food. And what a lot of people don't know is how much of our digestion is actually done for us by these little germs that live inside of us. So we're going to talk a lot about that. I'm very kind of interested in this at the moment because I think it's a part we don't know a lot about. We ignore, but it's not ignoring us. We want to talk about just keeping up with the stuff, pushing through. Sometimes you just have to be convinced that you're on the right path and that it's going to work. We have to talk about hormones. We have to tell you what's happening inside of you. I have to tell you what makes you who you are and why you change, and for the men, why your wife is different every single day. Okay, we do talk about exercise, and here we talk about the do or the die or the don't. As in, do we need to exercise at all? So, how many comrades have been run? Who knows the comrades number? They had this, I think it's 70. Didn't they do the 70th anniversary of the comrades the other day? The Ironman in South Africa, 10 years. So what did people do before that? They just like ran around in circles, wondering what to do. Some people swam, some people rode bikes. They thought, we should really do like a race. Because all the sports that you know have been in, all the endurance and running and fitness and aerobics. Aerobics used to just be called playing music and jumping up and down. But then they found a lot of people didn't want to do that. So they called it aerobics. And now it's like awesome. Like Tybo is just flapping your arms around a lot while hard music plays. But now it's Tybo, which is awesome. These things have all been invented in the last 50 or 60 years. They weren't there before. We didn't need to do them. And most of us, many of us, don't enjoy them. Many, many, many. And I'm going to let a lot of you off the hook when it comes to exercise. The other thing I'm going to really challenge, which is very scary, was an article that was released in the British Medical Journal only last week. So we're very current. Yeah, actually not last week, I lie. At 7 o'clock, at 6:45 tonight, I was just thinking about it. So about, do you need to eat vegetables at all? Do you need to eat fruit at all? Some scary stuff. Does running late count as exercise? Sometimes that's the only exercise we're going to get. We're going to talk about food, and I'm not going to tell you about food as in, does it make you thin or thick, or does it help you? But I want to show you how the right food actually becomes your medicine, and how you can fix most of the problems you have. 99%, remember, 99. In a world where statistics are made up, shoot for the big ones, 110% of the time. Yeah. So we're going to talk to you about rainbows as well, and how you can use the rainbow to help you decide what to eat. So if you really want to lose weight, you only eat when there's a rainbow. So I had a patient that said, Doc, I just want an easy way to lose weight. So I said, okay, well, how about do whatever you want, and then eat however you want one day, then skip the next day, then eat as much as you want the next day, then skip the next day, then do as much as you want, then skip the next day. And so he went back, he left, and I saw him a month later, and he'd lost 45 kilograms. And I'm like, so you only dieted 3 days a week. What on earth did you eat to lose that much weight? And he says, I did exactly what you said, Doc. I ate every second day, and I skipped every other day. So this is about our meats really going through a bit of a tough time. They've heard the news. Banting is out. That means food now starts alive. We don't like to eat unhappy cows, so we eat organic, because those are happy cows. So here's the new rules. So fat now is food that we're supposed to eat. Proteins can cause cancer. Did you know that? The China study, the world's biggest research project ever, 800,000 people, proved that if you eat more than 5% of your diet as protein, will cause cancer. They can trace almost every cancer back to proteins. And if you eat more than 20%, you might as well just die now. Carbohydrates, obviously you've heard, or hope you've heard, and if you haven't, we're going to help you to understand why carbohydrates are being vilified, and why they're bad, and why they're going to kill us. And should we be eating them? This is important. What your meat eats might be more important than what meat you eat. What your meat eats might be more important than what your meat eats. So we're going to talk about, did you get that? You've got to say it like 3 times. Don't do it fast, because it's like wobbly. I wrote it and it's confusing. What your meat eats may be more important than what meat you eat. Okay. And so we're going to talk about organic and free range and all that junk. Okay. I think that's the word people more normally use. Because it always costs more. But when I tell you how it's done, you'll see that to raise a cow, free range cow, can cost a farmer nothing. But you pay more. That's because he has to run into the field to catch it. That must be the only reason. I can't think of another one. So we'll talk about organic, and then we'll talk about bread and what happened to bread, and why are we suddenly not allowed to eat bread, and why does everybody hate bread, and should we hate bread, and are we never allowed to eat bread again? We're going to talk about energy. I want to talk about waking you up. I want to talk about feeling alive. I want to talk about doing these things and how we're going to go through this process of change and feeling better. And here we challenge this thing. Did you ever wonder where your energy went? And this person, you might recognize this person, because this is you every day with just 1 or 2 things that you think about, all the time. So we want to start removing some of these distractions. And sometimes you don't move them, you organize them. And that helps already. When your brain's working properly. I want to teach you about inflammation. I'm going to teach you about your death. I I'm going to tell each of you what you're going to die of and the date and time, which is a really interesting lecture for most people, except those that have only got until Wednesday. I know who you are, so please be here Tuesday for this. And pay, if you don't mind paying really on Tuesday. I'll send you emails. So inflammation is the big buzzword in health, because inflammation is the things that it's what makes you sick. It's the thing that makes your body attack itself. So you might have heard the word autoimmune disease. Autoimmune means your own body attacks its own self and kills itself slowly but surely, wiping out all the different parts of you that are supposed to be keeping you alive and healthy. Cholesterol could save you. So we're going to show you why cholesterol is suddenly not the bad guy anymore, or who must be careful and who must not be careful. We're going to show you how the medicine that your doctor gave you that made you feel better is actually just letting you die quietly, so that you don't create too much of a fuss and don't make a noise for the rest of us. So then we're going to show you how to keep doing it for the rest of your life. So this is how we're going to do it. I'll put this picture up there, but I kind of feel bad every time I do. This chick's been on my course like for 6 years now. She's not lost a kilogram. I've used her picture from the very, very first BetYaLife, and it's just terrible. So, because do you remember what I used to say about her over the years? I'm always worried about how old she was when she put that costume on, and then why she forgot to take it off after that. But so the problem is with this lady is when you see a lady like that, you think, oh, this is terrible, this is disgusting, she should lose weight. But the truth is, it's ridiculous that we wait that long to make a change. A lot of us are blind to the first few kilograms. But why get there? Who should take responsibility? Should it be the health agencies? Should it be the industry that produces our food? A very interesting thing I heard last week was that we live in a time where we have people who make our food who don't care about our health. And we have a health system, doctors, who don't care about your food. Because doctors generally don't talk to you about food. They tell you, what is your instructions? Cut down on your cholesterol, eat less, do more. That's a good doctor. He's going to tell you to do that. But he doesn't know about food. If you say, well, what's a good food, doctor? Well, I think apples sound good. It's easy to spell as well, and it's first on the list. Orange juice sounds good. Hey, orange juice. Always not a lot, because there's sugar and acid. Did you hear about the teeth that can dissolve in orange juice? Okay, that's not, it's true. Okay, so listen here. Let's talk about BetYaLife. Now that you've decided you definitely want to do it, we can skip to the easy part where you decide how you're going to pay for it. So we're going to give you 12 sessions here or somewhere like it. There are going to be more people joining us. So depending on how many more people join, we will let you know about venue. For now, please assume this is the venue. From next week, because we want to do a little bit of weighing, for those of you that want to. If you don't want to weigh, I don't care. It's not about weight. Weight means if I weigh you, it means I'm trying to lose weight. If I don't weigh, it means I'm trying to get healthy. If you're not interested in your weight, then you don't have to weigh yourself. Then we're going to take a before photograph in front of everybody in a bikini, but because we're really interested in that. Don't you want to see them, everybody? It's a fun part of the evening. I look very nice, and it's a white bikini. It's just okay. So don't worry so much about that. That's really not going to happen, just in case you didn't get that. From next week, we're going to be here from 5 in the afternoon. The lectures will normally start at 6 and will end promptly somewhere between 6, 7, or 8. But I never understood what promptly meant. Weird. My brother's name was Promptly, so I kind of missed the whole thing. So my mom says he came quickly, and so now she just called him. No, okay, you're making up new jokes now. So what I'm thinking here is next week, the reason I'm talking nonsense is because I'm actually trying to think what I want to tell you about next week. Next week, I've booked myself for something else really exciting that you're all welcome to attend, right? So there's a Sleek Geek dinner in town. Okay, you really aren't invited, but I unfortunately am, and have to be there at 7, 7:45, so 6-ish, 7-ish. So we're going to start next week a little earlier, all right? So come at 5 if you can, or as close to. I'm going to start the lectures about 5:45 and finish about 6:30, so that I can be in town at 7. This could happen. in a world that I don't live in. I'm going to try to do that. So next week will be early. If you didn't weigh before, we'll weigh you after. If you didn't get a photograph, we'll photo you after. If you don't want a photo, that's fine. I just want some information. We'll do some measurements. So if you do want to monitor how you change, then you are welcome. We will have my nurses here, and we'll do that for you. Whatever you haven't done, there will be a form that you're supposed to be completing for me, your evaluation form. You can do that before, or you can do that after. So my ladies will stay here, and I'm going to run out the door. That's just next week. That was just a clash. But from then on, it will be 6 to 7 here. Okay. What else do you need to know? We've got 2 options to pay. So we call BetYaLife because we want to make it dangerous and adventurous. But we found that people didn't like that, so now we have non-betting options. So this is one of the easiest options that most people probably take. It's 1,700 Rand for 2 people, which means you each pay 850 Rand. Works out to about 70 Rand a night per person. It's really cheap. You can pay less, but then I don't tell jokes that are funny. Oh no, I hear it. Did somebody say that's how tonight was already? That's why tonight was free. So it's not a funny joke. You get like the light version. This is like the diet version of jokes tonight. This I ask you to pay before the course starts. 2 people, 1,700. Then these are no bets involved. You pay me, I deliver the service, you go home skinny, all right? It's just going to be like that. If you want to just be one person, you can't find a friend to share with, you don't want to bet, you don't want to fuss, you don't want to pay it off, then it's 1,080 Rand for one person, paid before. If you do want to pay it off, I'm going to allow you to pay it off on a credit card. Do you know how that works? It really does work that way. 800 Rand, and it automatically will deduct the 400 Rand the following month. Or cash, but preferably not, because that means what I just said is stupid. So, credit card, unless you've got a very honest face. So most of us, it's credit card, let's be honest. So that's if you really can't afford. It is going to cost you a little bit more to pay it in 2 installments, but you're welcome to do that. If you have a group, if you want to bring some people from the office, if you want to do it in groups, I'm going to let 4 people who've all paid bring a friend free. Or you can all pay and tell your friend there's an awesome course that costs 4,000 Rand. Which means 1 person pays and 4 people get it free. My idea. You can use that if you want to. We will record everything. And the DVDs for all 12 sessions will be available to you for 850 Rand. So that's if you want to buy it for somebody, send it to somebody. What else do we do? Oh, then there's the free course. So let me explain to you how the free course works, because it's very confusing. Because most people think there's a catch, which is silly, because it just means, no, there's actually a catch. So this works like this. There are terms and conditions. All right? You could do this course absolutely free. Nothing. You don't pay me. How does that work? So I'm going to give you 12 sessions free. Everybody happy so far? I'm going to not charge you anything if you don't lose weight. Now the reason I put this in here is because A, if you came to this course to gain weight, whoa, we have hospitals for people like you. And most people still try to lose weight anyway. But I don't want people to feel like they're being scammed into something. Now, obviously, our course has been around for 5 years plus, so we're doing something right. But I kind of want people who don't have a lot of weight to lose to also feel like, well, why should I pay so much? I don't want to lose weight. I just want to hear the lectures. So that's for these people. You don't pay if you don't lose weight. Okay? So I've still made it a bit of a weight course. But you have to come to the 12 sessions. If you attend the session, it's free. If you don't attend the session, then I'm going to charge you 100 Rand. Do you see how that works? You'll have to think about it later. The reason I do this is because the people that do well in the program attend the course. And the more people who finish my course and do well, the more people come to my next course. So you become my marketing people, because you tell people how cool the course is. But if you stop after 3, and I've had people who stop halfway because they've lost 20 kilograms and they think it's awesome, and they understand, oh, they get it now. You know how many books do you read like that? You read 4 chapters and you go, yeah, I kind of get it. You know, he's going to kill her and she probably deserved it anyway, and boo-hoo. So sometimes you really need to hear how it ends because there's a twist at the end. So I like people to attend the course. There's value in attending the whole course. It's also part of being part of the group. It's also part of the commitment to get you over the hump, because there is a hump. There's a part that's not easy. And being with people helps you over that hump. The other thing I'm going to do is you're only going to pay for the weight you lose, but I am going to charge you about the price of, a pig. Pork, really. I worked this on pork. What do you think? Apparently we taste a bit like a pig. So for every kilogram you lose, I'm going to keep 100 Rand. So that's how I make my money. I help you lose weight. If you lose no weight, you pay me no money. If you lose weight, I take your money. All right? How do we do that? One more thing. You must pay 1,700 Rand into what I call your commitment bank. That means you're going to promise to do those things that I asked you to do. Attend 12 sessions and try not to lose weight. Because I'm going to use that money to deduct what you owe me, and at the end of the course, I'm going to pay you back whatever's left. Okay. This is a real thing, and we've done this. It cost me a freaking fortune. But it's kind of fair, because I don't like to be scammed. And this kind of takes the scam out of what I do here. But you have to come and listen to me tell stories every week. You get paid back whatever's left at the end of the course. I think we've pretty much come to the end of what I had to say to you tonight. We've got the forms. Everybody will get a paper with all the details and information on who you must pay, why you must pay, what the different options are that I've told you about now. So you can just look through them, make up your minds, send that back to us, fax it back to us, drop it off at our rooms in Oakdale, Oak Med, opposite the MChem, and decide what you want to do. Decide soon, because if you take too long, you won't do it. There's no good reason not to do it. I think you know that now. If you don't, please stay afterwards. For the rest of you, thank you very much for coming. You're free to go. We'll see you next week.